This video is brought to you by Skillshare. So how do you shoot professional looking B-roll of a product? How do you make a product stand out? Well, in this video, I'm going to be giving you tips on camera movement, lighting techniques, as well as showing you some simple editing tricks for much more professional looking results. It's coming up. Hey everyone, Steve here from Learn Online Video, and today I'm going to be showing you how to shoot professional looking product B-roll. This is perfect if you're just starting out. I'm going to show you everything from the most basic setup, one light, shooting completely handheld. We're then going to get a bit more creative, introduce more lights, move the camera in different ways, and introduce a few camera accessories. And at the end of this video, I'm going to edit all of this footage together into a sequence using music, color grading, and sound effects to see what results we get. Today's video is sponsored by Skillshare. They are offering the first 1,000 people to use the link in my description a free trial of Skillshare Premium. Okay, let's start with a super budget setup. I've got one light shooting completely handheld. I've put my product on this table and I've got this cheap softbox that I picked up on Amazon for around about 25 quid. I've got my camera, but no accessories for stabilizing my footage. But having nice, smooth, stable footage is what's going to give us the most professional looking results. So how do we stabilize our footage? Well, there are a number of different ways, but let's start off with a really budget way by using this book. I'm going to lay this book on the table, place my camera on top, and then use it to slide my camera around the product. I'm going to slide my camera from left to right, right to left, and create a parallax or orbit style movement around the product. Now, straight out of camera, this movement doesn't look great, but here is a pro tip. Shoot at a higher frame rate. I'm going to switch from shooting in 24 frames per second to 60 frames per second. This will allow me to slow my footage down in the edit. I'm also going to add some post stabilization. I'm going to use Final Cut Pro for this, and this will really help smooth things out. Just look at the difference in these two shots. Shot 2 is much smoother and much more professional looking. But how can we improve on this? Because things are looking a little bit basic. Well, we could get much more creative with our lighting. This time I'm going to attach this softbox to a C-stand and light my product from above for a much more dramatic look. I'm going to use this honeycomb grid to help direct the light downwards and prevent light spilling onto the back wall. And speaking of the back wall, this time I'm going to light the back wall using this mono light with some blue gel. These shelves are now getting a little bit lost, so I'm going to light those up pink using these Pavo tubes to create some contrast. Much better. As always, all gear and equipment used in this video will be linked in the description below. So we now have a much more stylized and professional looking setup. Let's grab a few more shots of this product shooting handheld. I'm going to grab some more slider shots using this book, and I'm going to grab some without. I'm going to get nice and close to this product, and I'm going to pull back with a slight rotation like this. Again, all of this footage has been shot at 60 frames per second and slowed down by 50% using post stabilization, and it's looking pretty smooth. But what if you're still struggling to get nice, smooth shots? Maybe you've got a shaky hand, maybe your image stabilization is terrible. How can we get smoother footage? What accessories are out there to help us get much more professional looking results? Well, one of the cheapest and easiest ways is to use a tripod. Make sure it is a fluid head tripod. This will instantly stabilize your footage. You can shoot pans of your product, tilts, you could shoot wide or nice close-up detailed shots. You could, of course, shoot static shots. You could then use a light to wipe past and reveal your product. This is another great way of adding movement to your shots. Another budget way of adding movement to your shots is to use a Lazy Susan like this one here. Just place your product on top and you can now rotate your product to get a much more interesting shot. You can of course get an electric turntable, but these cost more. Also, you might want to interact with your product and add the human element to your footage. This gimbal has a flip out screen, for example, so I'm going to flip it out and show off this feature. I could switch the gimbal on and activate these lights. This will also help add movement and interest to your footage. Sliders. Sliders are one of the best accessories for shooting product B-roll, and essentially there are two types, manual and electric. This one here, for example, is a full manual slider. No electronics, no batteries, everything is operated handheld. This slider helps get much smoother shots straight out of the camera. No slow motion or post-production stabilization needed. Much easier and much quicker. But still requires a little bit more skill and effort compared to an electric slider like this one here. Yes, it costs more, but requires pretty much no effort or skill. The slider does all the work for you. It guarantees super smooth footage moving at a consistent speed. With a manual slider, sometimes the movement can be a little inconsistent. It takes practice. The electric slider, however, requires just one press of a button and you're good to go. I can literally shoot this product whilst drinking a coffee. In fact, the sequence you're about to watch was all shot whilst I sat drinking a coffee. Electric sliders will also give you much more control compared to a manual slider. Using the app, I can program start and end points. You can change the speed of your camera movement and it will operate itself, freeing you up to focus on other parts of the shoot. Perfect if you're a solo shooter. Now, something that I really wanted to experiment with on this shoot is long exposure photography. It's a very stylized look, but something that I thought would work quite well for this product. Long exposure refers to a technique where you keep the shutter open for a longer period of time. This will sharply capture stationary elements within the image while blurring and obscuring moving parts of the image. This is the same technique that they use to shoot star trails at night or cars on a highway, and it is the technique that I'm going to use to shoot this product. Now, in all honesty, it's been a while since I last experimented with long exposure photography, and I definitely needed some help with this. So I jumped over to the sponsor of today's video, Skillshare, and searched for a class on long exposure photography. Skillshare have a ton of classes on photography and filmmaking, but it was this one here by Antonio Costello which really caught my eye and helped refresh my knowledge on this technique, and that's the beauty of Skillshare. They offer so many different classes on so many different topics: illustration, video editing, cinematography. So if you're a creative looking to learn a new skill, then Skillshare really is the place to do it. They literally have thousands of classes to choose from. Classes on how to grow on YouTube, how to make much better, more engaging videos, the list goes on. So if you'd like to take a class, learn a new skill, then you can do so for free if you are one of the first 1,000 people to use the link in my description. So you've got nothing to lose. Use the link, take a class, soak up some knowledge, and get creative. Okay, back to long exposure photography. For this, I'm going to put my camera on a tripod and shoot in manual mode. Then, using this Pavo tube, I'm going to wave it behind my product. The key to this effect is your camera settings. For all of these shots, I left the shutter open for 2 seconds each time. Be sure to experiment with different shutter speeds, as well as colors, movements, and shapes. Try spinning a light around your product or wiping it behind it. All will lead to different results. Okay, so now that we've shot all of our footage, I want to show you a few editing techniques that will really help make your footage stand out. The first is speed ramping. This is where we speed up or slow down a certain part of the clip. Here is the original clip shot on a slider. It's nice and smooth, but it's a little bit slow. So I'm going to speed up the start of this clip and add a whoosh sound effect. Let's take a look. Much better. This really helps pick up the pace and helps make the footage stand out. Okay, the next tip is to add a zoom in post-production. Take this clip here, for example, another slider shot. It's okay, but now let's zoom in. I'm going to start my scale at 100%. I'm going to skim to the end of this clip and scale it up to 130% and add a keyframe. This adds another layer of movement to your footage and helps draw the eye to your focal point. Now let's edit all of this footage together using music, color grading, and sound effects. So what do you think? Not bad, right? As you can see, by simply applying just a few of these techniques, you can really help make your footage stand out. And those were just a few ways that you can shoot product B-roll. If you found this video useful, do let me know by giving it the old thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more content like this, learn more about video production, you can do that by watching one of my other videos just over there. But that's it from me. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.